My goodness, where do I start? One of the worst things to happen to an orchid collector happened to me. But it was my fault because I was very uneducated on the topic. So one day I'm out there, with my plants in my little shade house, checking all the plants, and I notice, there's a few like mites on one of my orchids. Oh yeah, I'll go spray them, take care of them, do whatever needs to be done to get rid of the bugs. I check on them the next few days and I go, oh, like that seems really weird. The leaves are like a dark green variegated color and there's like a lot of unusual markings on the leaves. Like I wonder what it is. So I get to Googling, having a look around, and I'm thinking, oh, it doesn't look like black spot virus. It doesn't look like any rot of any kind or root rot. I'm scratching my brain going thinking, what is wrong with these orchids? It looks like nothing I've ever seen before. So I start looking into it and I start looking at maybe orchid viruses and I'm thinking, oh, all my plants look pretty healthy. They look fine. I don't think it would be a virus, but I keep looking into it just to like ease my mind. I have a look at all the photos and I think, oh, they do look really similar, but none of the plants really match exactly what I'm looking at like the reference photos that I've found. So I thought, oh, I wonder if there's a way to test them. So I look into a few places that do it. And thankfully, one of my favorite orchid shops sells these kits, and that's Barata Orchids. So I've ordered like maybe 15 of these kits. They've come in, and I start testing my orchids and seeing what happens. How these tests work is that you take a piece of your orchid, you like mush it up in one of the test tubes, and then you add like a little testing strip. It kind of looks a little bit like one of the COVID tests. These tests will show three red lines. The top one's just a control line, the second one is for Cymbidium mosaic virus, and the bottom one is for Ontoglossom ring spot virus. Unfortunately, there isn't currently an at-home test for the Fleck virus, but you can take a sample and post it off to be tested. So after testing 15 different orchids, 12 out of the 15 came back positive for either the Cymbidium mosaic virus or the Ontoglossom ring spot virus. So sadly, I had to remove all of those orchids, including anything that was close to them, and bin them all. They all needed to be destroyed so they didn't pass on anything else to my other orchids that are infected. They still look okay, they still flower, but the reason I decided to destroy them was because I will never be able to propagate them. I won't be able to go to any orchid shows. I can't show any of the flowers because they can infect other growers' orchids. The other thing is that, whatever tools I use, I have to be really careful to sanitize them. I can spread it from one orchid to another from using shared pots, shared potting medium, any like, leftover cut bits of the leaves. So pretty much anything that they have contact with could spread to the rest of my collection. I think another factor that played into my orchids getting infected in the first place was that I had bought orchids from eBay, Gumtree, Facebook Marketplace, and I'd gotten some from friends. You really don't know what could be sick and what couldn't. A lot of the orchids that I tested looked like they weren't even sick at all. To keep your orchids safe, instead buy only from orchid nurseries. They constantly test their plants to make sure that they aren't virused. Out of all the plants that I collect, probably the biggest part of my collection is orchids. I'm a big fan of them and have always loved them. But unfortunately, I don't know everything about them and I'm learning as I go. I hope to make a video just about all the different orchids that I keep. Most of them are Cymbidiums and native Australian orchids due to the climate here in Melbourne. If you've watched any of my previous videos, any of my unboxing videos, you'll probably recognize a few of those orchids in my collection. I'm really hoping that they flower soon though, so I can see what the hybrid flower looks like compared to its parents and make a video on that. Overall, this has been a really good learning experience. I've learnt so much more about orchids and how to keep them, all the do's and don'ts and what to look out for with viruses and any other sicknesses that they have. I hope you've learned a little bit more about orchid keeping now from my experience. Thank you for watching.